Sinkholes, something I've never really thought much about until today. I thought this was going to be a tough list to form, but no, there are tons of videos online of crazy sinkhole incidents. I was just going through life thinking, you know, unless there's an earthquake, the ground beneath our feet is mostly solid. I don't have to worry about it crumbling away and falling below the earth like Spawn being sucked back into hell. But today that changed. New fear unlocked. I'm your host James, and these are the top 10 sinkholes caught on camera. We're starting out the list with the tunnel. Fallbrook Houston News posted this clip to their YouTube channel, and it is a pretty astonishing piece of footage. So the clip starts off, and there's already this large crater that's opened up in the road, but then the camera zooms in, and we watch the thing just continue to grow. It looks like a scene out of a disaster movie or something. And the craziest part about this clip, aside from the concrete road tumbling away like it's made out of wet clay, is the fact that people are just standing around filming this, and they're pretty close to the sinkhole. Like, large chunks of road are getting swept away, and nobody thinks to be like, we're standing right on this same road, maybe we should leave. If I were watching this, I'd think the world was ending. I would not be standing there gawking. I'd be like, this hole's gonna keep getting bigger. It's gonna be a small crack that starts moving its way right up to my feet, and then it's gonna burst open, and I'm gonna be swallowed up like one of the background characters in War of the Worlds. If you're liking our channel, by the way, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave your thoughts and comments down below. Number 9, the casual stroll. So this happened in Xi'an, China. A surveillance camera captured a woman walking down the street, chatting on her cell phone. But as she walks over a particular patch of concrete, it suddenly gives way and then like she just falls into the ground. There 1 second, gone the next. There are a lot of things you need to watch out for when you're walking around in public. Watch out for cars, watch out for muggers, don't step on a banana peel, keep your eyes on the street so you don't walk into a pole. Praying you don't step on a weak area in the pavement because you might fall into the ground is not something I've ever considered until this day. And I say pray because it's not like she could see it. Nobody knew this was gonna happen. It's like, normal brick, nope, goodbye. A cab pulled over and the driver got out, climbed into the hole and shook the woman awake. Then firemen showed up with a ladder and she climbed out of the hole. What a surreal and horrifying experience that must have been though. Speaking of surreal and horrifying experiences, here's a guy on a scooter driving right into a massive pit that suddenly opened up right in the middle of the road. This was captured on a security camera in China as well. We watch as this large section of a road just sinks, forming a gigantic crater. Then a dude drives up on a motorized scooter, but he can't stop in time before driving right into it. I think he may have been looking at his cell phone right before he realized, like, oh crap, there's no road here anymore. The guy was okay. He only sustained minor injuries, luckily. If I saw this happen though, I'd be like, is he dead? There's this dude who watches the guy fall in though, and then just very slowly and casually like walks up to the hole. Really doesn't seem all that concerned about the poor dude. He's acting like a dad walking up to his kid after they fall and scrape their knee. Like, you right there, bud? Honestly though, he was probably just worried the hole might open up more, which I can understand. At our number 7 spot, we have the Florida sinkhole. So this is a post-sinkhole opening up, but this thing is gigantic. Like, look at the size of this thing. It looks like an asteroid slammed into the neighborhood. What's freaky is how close it was to engulfing some of the houses. They're right on the edge. If this thing got any bigger, you'd see some rubble in that pit. Looks like someone's pool got swept into it though. You can see a strip of like white tiles. Looks like that could have been pulled into the... You could see a strip of white tiles. Looks like it could have been the edge of a pool. If you lived in this neighborhood, how would you be able to sleep that night? I'd be just thinking like, well, it happened once, it can happen again. What if I wake up to my house caving in on itself? Horrifying. Next on the list we have the truck. So this incident occurred in Shaanxi, China. This truck is slowly driving down the road, probably making a delivery or something. It drives over a weak patch of concrete and then bam, the ground opens up and the rear end of the truck falls back into the ground. Apparently the truck was carrying 2 tons of bricks and the road surface may not have been able to bear the weight because of soil erosion. Anyway, the driver was fine and the truck was lifted out of the sinkhole not long afterward. Scary experience though, especially while driving so slowly and carefully. Like, when would you ever be expecting to be in an accident like this at that speed? My answer would have been never, but again, after watching all these videos today, I don't know, anything is possible, I guess. You could just fall into the earth at any point in time. Number 5, the Peru Sinkhole. So speaking of falling into a pit at any point in time, how about while celebrating your prom with your friends? Apparently yes. So this incident happened on prom night in the San Martin region of Peru. Students were celebrating the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, dressed to impress, a night where, just for one night, all worries and fears were to be forgotten. As the group of students were jumping up and down in unison to the music filling the night, life was as simple as can be. That night, just for that night, all their worries for the future, their regrets of the past, were drowned out by the laughter of friends. Until the ground freaking collapsed beneath their feet and they all fell into a massive pit in the dance. Until the ground freaking collapsed beneath their feet and they all fell into a massive pit in the dance floor. Like, what the hell? Great start to adulthood. Talk about the rug being like pulled out from under you too. How literal of a metaphor can you get? Like, yep, party's over, guys. All downhill from here. Hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. Anyway, luckily the sinkhole wasn't very deep and everyone was fine. Physically fine, anyway. And at number 4, we have Pothole becomes Sinkhole. So we see cars driving along a road. Clearly there's a hole, a small pothole. Just as the first car drives over it though, it gets bigger. And then another one drives over it, bigger again. At this point, the next car realizes what's going on and wisely comes to a stop before deciding to drive around the pothole. I guess the car behind the white car didn't know what was going on, or just, I don't know, didn't care and thought they could make it, because it just stays in its lane and tries driving over it, and what do you know? The front tire smashes into the hole, leaving the vehicle stuck in the middle of the road. I don't know what this guy was thinking, or if he even was thinking, because if I saw the car in front of me stop, communicate with the car in the oncoming lane, and then drive around a spot in the road, I would not try driving right over the large pothole clearly visible in my lane, but maybe that's just me. Number 3, goodbye family car. This next car-related sinkhole incident took place in Mumbai, India. A sinkhole opened up in a car park of a residential building, and one car got swallowed into the ground like it was sinking into quicksand. Luckily, no one was in the car at the time. They were just watching in horror from their apartment. They'd seen the car starting to fall into the sinkhole, but it was too late to do anything about it. I definitely wouldn't be jumping in the car and trying getting it out of there. Apparently the ground had collapsed after a super heavy rainfall, and the spot where the sinkhole formed used to be a well that was covered up to build the car park. Anyway, the vehicle was rescued from the hole 12 hours. This next clip is from South Korea. So a bus pulls up to a stop. A few people exit the vehicle, including a couple. Now, you can clearly see a dip in the sidewalk. I wouldn't think the ground would just give away completely if I were there in person, but looking at the title of the video, I know what's gonna happen, and I know exactly where these two are gonna fall. Anyway, they're just walking down the street, having a casual conversation, and then they're in a hole in the ground. The hole was about 3 meters deep, but luckily they weren't seriously injured. Finally, we have the Kenya sinkhole. This happened in the highlands west of the Kenyan Rift Valley in East Africa. So the video starts, and we see this large puddle with what looks like a small whirlpool in the center. It's sucking in water, but you can also see grass and parts of the land kind of floating towards the whirlpool. It's like the land is sitting inside a massive sized bathtub that's just been unplugged or something. Very surreal image. And then more and more water and grass starts getting sucked into the hole, which is just like picking up speed. And I've said this before on this list, but I would not be standing around filming this. Like, I don't know when the piece of land I'm standing on is gonna get sucked into the earth. I don't wanna be swallowed into a whirlpool in the ground. And it just keeps going and going. Am I the only one who didn't know that this was really a thing? Really freaky. Anyway, comment shout out time here. This was on the top 10 scary asteroids that could destroy Earth in 2024 video. This comment was posted by Viking McJawl, who simply wrote, happily watching this before going to sleep. Yeah, I hope you had a nice nightmare that night, and have now just finished watching this video before nodding off to dreamland. We got threats from space. We got threats from below us. Apparently we could just fall into massive pits in the ground all of a sudden. What a world we live in. With all that said though, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video. We got threats from space. We got threats from below us. Apparently we could just fall into massive pits in the ground all of a sudden. What a world we live in. With all that said though, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.